Welcome back to Movie Plot Recapped. A man named Richard is shown at the start of the movie. He was playing a football match with his team. Then the player of rival team attacks him. And he falls him down. Richard becomes very furious on this. And Richard also begins to beat him bitterly. Due to this, all people become afraid there. In the next scene, Richard and his best friend Lisa come on the scene. When they were communicating with each other. Then Richard becomes out of control and he is transformed into a werewolf. And he tries to harm Lisa. Lisa runs from there as being afraid from him. When Richard wakes up in the very next morning, then he comes to know that he has killed his parents. As a result, Richard becomes so sorrowful and sentimental. And he is again transformed into a werewolf. At the same time, his friend Lisa reaches there, taking the police officers. And Richard flees. And this news becomes viral. That Richard has taken the lives of his parents and everyone is given ultimatum. That Richard is a deadly boy and he has also ended his parents. Then police officers begin to search for Richard. It is known that Richard cannot control himself when there is full moon night. So he is transformed into a werewolf. After this, he comes to know that he had been adopted by his parents. Knowing this, Richard feels so awkward. Richard had never supposed it. Later, Richard is going. He observes that two boys are beating a girl on the way. Then that girl asks for help from Richard. Richard asks those boys to leave that girl but they overlook his warning. And they ask Richard to move away. He is enraged, hearing this. He is transformed into a werewolf again. Now Richard kills both of those boys. Seeing this, that girl is so scared and she runs from there. After it, Richard moves to a bar where he meets a man named Wild Joe. And Wild Joe was also not an ordinary man but a werewolf. Now Richard had known this, that he is not only one werewolf. But Richard could not control himself. He asks the same thing from Wild Joe. Wild Joe asks him, "Do your parents not teach you this?" Hearing this, Richard reveals to him that I am an adopted child. I never saw my biological parents. Now it becomes confirmed by Richard. Other people also exist who are like him. Now he asks Wild Joe of his real address. But Wild Joe forbids him to tell. But he gives a clue to him while leaving. So Richard may go at that place. After this, he reaches the town. Reaching there, he goes into the local bar where all people were staring at him. When he goes to the bar owner named Angelina after taking the bear. Then he begins to lure towards her. And he asks about working from Angelina. A boy appears there when he was talking with Angelina. And he begins to show ill behavior to Richard. But he does not say anything in bar to him. And he begins to wait for that boy, going out of the bar. When all visitors of bar leave it, then he attacks that boy, finding him alone. And that boy runs away after being afraid from him. And a man named John offers him to work as a farm worker at his farm. And he accompanies Richard to his home. And a man named Connor approaches there. Who says to Richard that you have beaten one of my men. Then John comes there and says to Connor that he is my nephew. Your men were at fault in the bar. Knowing this, Connor leaves that place. Next day, Richard discovers a dead body of a wolf, and John tells him that it has been done by any wolf, which hunt the animal without any cause. Then Richard meets with a boy while moving to a bar. He tells, "I am your second cousin." He asks him to avoid Connor. But Connor was staring at them, standing far. Saying this, that boy runs from there. Connor's men capture him on the way. And he asks him, "Which information have you delivered to Richard?" That boy tells Connor, "I have told to Richard to leave this town. And I instructed to keep himself away from Angelina." Then Connor says to him, "You have also told something about myself to Richard. Because I had also heard my name at that time." Now Connor asks that boy to flee. He threatens, "It is good if you ran away, otherwise we will hunt you." Then Connor's all men go to the forest while following that boy. Richard hears the voice of that boy when he was returning. So Richard also comes back to the forest. Richard meets Angelina when he comes to the forest. Angelina tells him that Connor and his men are hunting a boy. When Richard witnesses that Connor's men are eating that man like animals. Then Richard comes to the house of Angelina with her. And he begins to watch the same news. Meanwhile, John's wife embraces him, seeing him. Seeing this, Richard becomes so astonished. John tells him here, "Your mother is the daughter of my sister, who was purebred." When Connor glimpsed her, then he had started to like her. When she rejects his proposal of Connor for marriage, then Connor seduced her. "So you are the son of same Connor. It means that Connor is your father." John also reveals to him that, "Your grandfather had spread the news of your mother's death everywhere. But she was not dead. He had rather locked her into a room. He had done so Connor may never get access to your mother." We give you to someone when you took birth. This was the cause that your mother committed suicide at the same month. Connor became more deadly after the death of your mother. He transformed more people into werewolf after biting them. Then he made a pack of werewolves. Now he victimizes others with others. But such werewolves are weaker than purebred werewolves. And you are purebred werewolf. It is revealed through this, a purebred girl is required for Connor now. After this, he will never harm anyone in return. Now Angelina was only girl in the whole town who was ready for this. And she herself wanted to surrender before Connor. And she also tries to explain this to Richard. And Richard says to her, "We all are like animals. I have also killed my parents." Then Angelina tells Richard that, "My father returned to home at a night after being too intoxicated. And he took the life of my mother. When he woke up early in the morning, he was so dejected, witnessing this. At the same time, he committed suicide after cutting her throat." Now Richard asks her, either it is power or a curse. Then Angelina tells him, "It is not less than a blessing if we get a control over this." Now Richard asks Angelina to keep herself away from him, so he may not harm Angelina. But Angelina forbids him on this. Then pack of purebred werewolves gathers in the home of John at night. And they all wanted this, that Angelina should be given to Connor. But Richard forbids this. And he leaves to the forest to face Connor alone. Now he says to Connor while reaching him, "I am the son of the same women who had been seduced by you." Connor says to him here that I give you a chance, as I offer to everyone. He asks Richard to escape from here. Hearing this, Connor becomes so aggressive, he sends all his men after Richard. And Richard kills all his men, reaching forest. Then Connor and his men surround him and they begin to beat him violently. Due to this, Richard shouts loudly. Now Angelina also begins to run to the forest, hearing the shouting of Richard. Now Connor was going to Richard here. Then Richard attacks him with his claws. And he runs away. When he notices, moving ahead, there is a deep ditch. Now Richard had no other way. Now Richard jumps into the ditch. Consequently, he becomes so wounded. After this, he glimpses Wild Joe, who encourages him to stand up. Now Richard moves to the forest in some way after standing up. He meets Angelina there, who brings him at home. Now John asks to get Richard up. He says, "It is only a way through which you can recover." But Richard remains unable to get up. Then John gesticulates Angelina. And Angelina moves to Richard. Due to this, a change comes in the body movement of Richard. And Richard begins to be recovered. After this, Angelina begins to bring him outside. And she asks him to run away. First of all, Richard forbids. But he runs while restoring his courage. His all wounds are healed when he runs. Later, they both come to John. It is known that John possesses many explosives, and Richard hits upon an idea here. He begins to make the bullets so that the werewolves may be ended. When he was setting the explosive material under the earth, then he hears the voice of Angelina. He comes to know when he reaches at home, that they have seized John and Angelina. And they also call Richard there. They had kept Angelina there after chaining her. Now Richard kills the guard, reaching there. Now he had completely transformed into a werewolf. And Connor's men begin to assault him there. And he kills everyone there one by one. And he starts running to the woods after freeing Angelina from their trap. Now Angelina also kills all at that place. Freeing John from cage, she sends him to rescue Richard. Now they wait for the arrival of Richard, reaching home. Connor's men also approach at home when Richard reaches there. And he asks them to go back. Hearing this, Connor is enraged. And he asks his men to bring Richard downside. But John starts firing there. Consequently, many men of Connor meet their end. At the same time, Connor hears the voice of Richard in the direction of farmhouse. When Connor reaches the farmhouse along with his men, Richard locks the door of that farmhouse there. And John starts firing there. So there is a great explosion there. Now Connor's all survived men were also ended, but Connor is survived and he attacks Richard. Now Richard fights with him and falls him down. Then John was going to fire his gun at him, but Richard prohibits him. He reminds to Connor, "You have committed many bad deeds. So you will have to die." Then Connor tells him that, "I never did wrong with your mother. We were in love with each other. When your grandfather spread the false news of your mother's death, I had lost my heart from that time, because I had great affections for your mother. And this grief had turned me into an evil man." Then the previous man, Wild Joe, comes there with whom he had met in a local club. He says that I already wanted to take revenge from Connor. But he had become the cause of my banishment. But I could never defeat him. When my brother told me about Richard, then I killed the parents of Richard's parents. Through it, this news spread that Richard has killed his own parents. So Richard had to come in this town, while leaving his native country. Hearing this, Richard becomes so furious and he begins to hit Wild Joe. And Wild Joe punches Richard. As a result, he falls down. When Connor forbids him of doing so, then Wild Joe cuts his throat brutally. Due to this, Connor has also died at the spot. Now Wild Joe also tried to kill Richard. Then Richard's Uncle John rescues him, coming there. And Wild Joe begins to run from there, but Richard stops him. Wild Joe was smoking, then Richard throws his cigarette on the ground, grabbing it. And his spread explosive is set on fire. Now Richard himself goes far from Wild Joe. Due to that cigarette, though spread explosive material is blasted. And Wild Joe comes to an end. In the next scene, it is seen that Richard and Angelina were moving out of the town. Then John gives them the list of last survivors purebred werewolves. Those names were listed here who were purebred werewolves. And the movie completes on this scene here. Thank you for watching.